Hey everybody. Sorry for the delay on the upload, but I guess we can just call it a cliffhanger. So this is actually Legion TD2, and to get out of the way, I am a bit rusty. It's been a while since I really played this game, but I wanted to have a little chat about this video. And it will be kind of different because I've sort of jotted down a few things on the side of interest that maybe will help me not be as scatterbrained, but I'm sure I'll still fall on and off the wagon. So, for starters, my teammate was pinging me at the start of the game based on the unit I put down. And I don't know about everybody else here, but that kind of stuff tilts me to probably an unreasonable level. But I do let it go, and I think that's usually the best move. Just kind of helps keep me in focus, and especially so early in a match. I mean, what good is it going to do if I start tilting out on my teammate? In this game, it really is just you and another person. So if they're if they're not in a good mental and I'm not in a good mental, you may as well kind of FF at the beginning and surrender the game. Um, anyway, so reasoning for being away, to circle back to that, I am still nicotine free, which is awesome. Still struggling here and there. Just the other day, I was really like, oh man, I would just love to take a hit from the vape, but I'm not gonna, especially given what happened recently in regards to my mouth hurting. The update there is I actually went and I got it checked out, and I'm happy to say I may be a little less wise, but it's because they yanked my wisdom tooth out of my head, and I cannot begin to express like just how much better it feels. I feel like a human again. The amount of pain I'm in is nowhere near what I was in before. So it definitely these are things you don't put off, so don't put them off. Anyway, just wanted to kind of touch base on that and catch everybody back up. I'm not sure if there's anyone out there that is overly interested in how I'm doing or overly interested in these videos to begin with, but if you are, hey, how you doing? Um, so the topic for this video is gonna, I mean, it's mostly gonna relate to Legion, but I think it also we're gonna touch on the idea of comfort zones and why it's nice to step out of them, because a lot of the times, it's just that it's a comfort zone. I mean, if you're in bed snuggled up and it's nice and warm, it's like I don't want to get out of here. It feels nice, but it's something that can definitely be a game changer and a mind changer. As I mentioned before, I believe in maybe my last video, that I've always been more of a first person shooter gamer. I mean, Call of Duty, Counter Strike, stuff like that. So getting into a game that looks like this is not something that I thought anyone could have ever paid me to do. I mean, everything going on here, like, what is this? What's going on? Um, and I mean, I'm sure that y'all may be thinking that too as you're watching, and I do apologize that this video is not so much about explaining the gameplay itself as much as it is me just having commentary over gameplay. I mean, I'd rather have this than Subway Surfers in the background, and it kind of helps with the narrative of we're talking about Legion TD2. If I just said, hey, this is the name of the game, and then I'm showing something entirely different, like Call of Duty, which is a little bit easier to mindlessly watch, then I feel like it would kind of take away from the overall experience. And I could be wrong. I may be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But here we are. So, Scatterbrain at its finest. So, this game, like a lot of others actually that I've came across, is actually a mod from another game, which I believe was StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 1. So one of the crafting of the stars, that's where I believe this one came from, similar to how League was from Dota, I believe, or something along those lines. Correct me if I'm wrong. No problem, I probably am. But yet again, another game that isn't up my alley off of initial view. And, this one I actually kind of gave a fair try. And, you know, with I did try StarCraft at one point, and that was just too big brain for my small head. Maybe if I put the time in, I could have gotten some momentum going, but my interest wasn't sparked enough in that as it is with this beautiful beast we have in front of us today. I'd like to say the first month of learning this game was more of me forcing myself to play it due to my friend gifting it to me on Steam. And I would just feel like a terrible friend to just not play it whatsoever after all the effort he put into selling me on the game and how much fun it could be. He's known me for a while. We played RuneScape for years upon years. Um, and I never really shut down the idea of playing this game when he brought it up. So, I was fairly open minded, but I was also like, oh, I don't think I want to spend my money on it. And then, haha, Uno Reverse gifted it to you, buddy. So, yeah, here we were. Um, at first, all this information kind of on the screen that we see here, there's, the top left damage dealt, attack effectiveness, wave info, all this stuff. It's like, it feels like clutter. It's adding to my anxiety. I'm overwhelmed. And I'm trying to figure out, like, what's going on in this monster chessboard thing on my screen. But along the way, something strange happened. Things just sort of started to make sense, as if it clicked one day mid game. And I think that's the beauty in it. Because I went into this not even with the best of attitudes, but just a desire to at least play enough to show I gave it a fair shot with a semi open mind. For the sake of a buddy of mine that really was, hey, I feel like you would enjoy this game. I feel like you would do great with this game. So yeah, just keeping an open mind, which I think these days not many people are willing to do. And as I improved, my competitive side kicked in, and I began to challenge myself to sort of see how far I could actually push within the game itself. It's a fairly standard rank system, bronze, silver, gold, etc. in that fashion, master, grandmaster, all that kind of stuff. So started at bronze, and then once I hit plat, I really thought I had something cooking. To the point where once upon a time, a few years ago, I was working on an intro to Legion video. It got kind of put on the back burner, and I got maybe a minute or two of a edited and scripted video together, which maybe one day I'll come back around and make. That was back when I had about 100 hours into the game. At this point, I'm at about 700 hours. So I think it'd probably at this point even be more beneficial due to a further understanding. But first, I did take a couple breaks from playing this game, so I would want to have a full scope of understanding before I try to make anything fully like informative and educational in that regard. But yeah, just looking back, this is the one game that in recent time not only was my least likely to enjoy, but my most amazing memories from. Like within the 700 hours I played, it still blows my mind that that's the number. And I may not be like the tippy top players, but the height I reached when I was playing this game regularly, it's greater than I believe my fingertips would even be able to swipe. So it just goes to show that doubt is normal, doubt is natural, doubt is healthy. But just because there's doubt doesn't mean that you can't push beyond that and make something greater happen. Within this game, I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. I'm still trying to find my bearings. I didn't really start off as strong as I would have liked to, which we will definitely see as we're paying attention. You'll see the top health bars, the red one enemy, green one us. You'll be able to kind of tell how the game's going throughout that. And even if you don't fully understand, you'll be able to see, oh wow, this is going down, not good for you, or this is going down, good for you. Um, so anyway, scatterbrained again. We're all over the place, but we all do have our own comfort zones, and I do believe it's a great thing to have because if things get tough, we know that we can just fall back. Like I can decide to turn on Call of Duty, and no matter how bad they've made the game, because Lord knows the last few years, it's not been it. I mean, maybe drop a comment if you have a different feeling on it. But Cold War was probably the last Call of Duty that I could genuinely say was a good one that I thoroughly enjoyed. But I can still play like Black Ops 6. I can turn it on and do well enough to say, hey, I had a good time. Um, you know, I'm still a really solid gamer, and it's just like a normal vibe to me. And the level of effort, it's not the same as the level of effort it takes to get out of your bubble and see something that looks so foreign as this did to me. And I mean, even when I try to explain this game to my friends, because I try to do what my buddy did and sell them on the idea of like, oh yeah, no, it's a great game. It's sometimes hard to put into words that are digestible. But jumping back to a slight talk about this game itself that we're seeing in the background, I may end up slicing it up a bit, either speeding up parts or chopping things out to fit the video, as I'm more interested in the commentary over the gameplay itself. But again, if you watch this and have more interest in the gameplay, I could go back with, a fine comb and sort of explain what's actually going on and where my head was at throughout the game. Like I said, the whole first half here, my head is very far from on my shoulders. It's rolling down the yard right now, and the rust was definitely taking a toll. But, if that is of interest to you, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do my best to make that happen. But we all should truly strive to challenge ourselves as often as we can. And with it being a new year, I mean, it's cliche, it's corny, but new year, new me, stuff like this. Um, we can go into it with a new perspective. Again, this is for everybody or somebody. Who am I kidding? It's probably nobody. But to you, buddy, it's what's something like last year that you may have done that was a challenge for you or like out of your comfort zone. Just something that may have had you uncomfortable and out of your element. And in the end, did you find that it helped you grow in some regards? Or was it just like a regret making that leap? Do you feel it was a waste of your time? What reflection do you have on 2024 as we are getting into 2025? Um, this year, especially as gamers, I believe we should challenge ourselves a little bit more to keep an open mind in many ways, even outside of gaming and within. I feel like we're very close-minded in a lot of regards. We'll want a game. We want something new. We want something fresh. And then if something new and fresh comes out, a lot of the community seems to swat it down, not give it a fair shake. And a lot of the times, new games, if they do get hype, only has the lifespan allotted by the streamers that are playing it. And once your favorite streamer stops playing it, you can see the Steam charts. A lot of these games die off within like a month or two, and some of them really should be able to go for the long haul, in my opinion. But first impressions are important. But how many times in life did you get the wrong impression about something, be it a game, movie, person, product? And after the fact, you find that your initial impression didn't provide a fair overview of what the final representation of it was. Like me personally, I have a group of friends that it's nearly impossible to find a game that will mesh for everybody. Almost as if it's like a secret challenge that nobody's really in on, to just make it as difficult as possible to have a game that we can all agree on and play. But I mean, we have had a few games that even with the initial view of the game, it may have been like unjustifiably negative at the time. But as we went on and more time was put into it, and a more reasonable opinion could be formed, even if everyone wasn't on the same page and it didn't become like the game for us. Some opinions change, and I'm sure we all have those moments. And going into 2025, let's all not be so knee jerk, and let's not depend on others, whether it's a review website, streamer, or a friend to influence our initial thought of something. And let's just give things a fair shake, because I know if I didn't, I wouldn't have put the 700 hours into this game that we're seeing in front of us, and I wouldn't have had the amazing memories or challenges that I've come across and overcome in that time. So, thanks again for stopping by. And if it's somebody, anybody, or most likely nobody, see you next time, buddy.